All right, we are cutting across to New Delhi, in fact, to the house of Arun Jaitley, where the Indian Prime Minister-elect Narendra Modi is arriving. Remember, Mr. Modi is expected to call on Arun Jaitley, who earlier today had requested to be left out of Mr. Modi's new cabinet. The new Council of Ministers and Mr. Modi himself will be sworn in at the Rashtrapati Bhavan tomorrow. Now, just for some context, Mr. Jaitley has been suffering from ill health for the better part of the last 2 years of the Modi government. In fact, he did undergo a kidney transplant earlier in the year. This year, he did take some time off to go to the United States for a medical checkup. Now, Mr. Jaitley had today publicly issued that letter that he'd written to Mr. Modi. It went up on Twitter. He said that he's asked to be left out of Mr. Modi's new cabinet, citing his ill health. He says he needs time to recoup and concentrate on his health. So the huge security detail outside Mr. Jaitley's residence in New Delhi, where the Indian Prime Minister-elect Narendra Modi has arrived. Sources suggest that the visit is to call on Mr. Jaitley and a request from the Prime Minister-elect for him to reconsider his decision to not be part of the new cabinet. Remember, Mr. Jaitley has served as the Finance Minister for the most part of the first term of Mr. Modi in government. Now, he did, of course, recuse himself from duties for a while when he was undergoing a surgery for a kidney transplant. He was away from the office for about 3 months. In the interim, it was Piyush Goyal who took charge of the Finance Ministry. Arun Jaitley is one of the most senior members of the Bharatiya Janata Party in its current form. He is a stalwart of Indian politics and a very well-recognized face. There were rumors swirling around his health earlier this week as well. In fact, in the wake of the election victory of the BJP from last week, there were questions asked about whether Mr. Jaitley was in the country, if he had left to receive treatment. However, all of those were rubbished. He is, in fact, in India. However, he has cited ill health and requested time to recuperate and asked Mr. Modi to leave him out of the for the upcoming Council of Ministers announcement tomorrow, at least for the present time. However, he did add in that letter to the Indian Prime Minister-elect that he was always available in an unofficial capacity for both the government as well as the Bharatiya Janata Party. The Indian Prime Minister has arrived at Mr. Jaitley's residence in New Delhi. Tomorrow is when Mr. Modi is going to be sworn in as the Prime Minister of India for a second successive term. Let me go across to WION's political editor for more. Kartikeya, Mr. Modi is calling on Arun Jaitley as we speak. The intent possibly to ask him to reconsider his decision to opt out of the cabinet.
I think it's good messaging. My understanding is that I don't think Arun Jaitley is going to resign. I don't think Narendra Modi will push Arun Jaitley to resign his decision. I think it is good photo optics. Please understand that the relationship between Arun Jaitley and Modi is just not transactional. When Narendra Modi wanted to be projected by party as the Prime Minister candidate Aisha, the only help he received was from Arun Jaitley and Rajnath Singh. Rajnath Singh announced his name, and when there were legal trouble for Amit Shah and Narendra Modi, it was Arun Jaitley who was helping them in their cases, both in Gujarat and Supreme Court. So, it's something much more personal. And I think for him to go there is an acknowledgement of that relationship, that you might not be in the government, but you'll always be in the play of the system. And please remember that Mr. Jaitley has not resigned as the member of Rajya Sabha. Mr. Jaitley is the leader of the Rajya Sabha for the Bharatiya Janata Party, for which he enjoys the cabinet status. So even if Mr. Jaitley is not part of the cabinet, there will be no shortfall in terms of his protocol. All that protocol will remain. So I think it's more personal, and I think no Prime Minister, no colleague will press any person who has publicly acknowledged that he is not well and requires treatment and wants to spend time with family, Aisha.
Fair enough. We leave it at that, Karthikeya. Thanks very much for joining us on the broadcast. For our viewers joining in, a quick wrap on the story that we're tracking. Currently, the Indian Prime Minister-elect Arun Jaitley, Narendra Modi is calling on Mr. Arun Jaitley, who earlier today had requested the Prime Minister to keep him out of his new Council of Ministers. A good messaging on the part of the Indian Prime Minister to call on someone who is not keeping well and has asked for time to concentrate on both his health, but has also offered to support the government and the Bharatiya Janata Party in whatever way possible in an unofficial capacity. With that, we are going to take a break here on the broadcast. On the other side is Gravitas with my colleague Palki Sharma Upadhyay. Do stay tuned. Bye-bye.